In this tutorial, we'll learn how to set the autofocus mode and see how to change the focus point of the camera, the metering mode of the camera, and how to change the drive mode of the camera. Let's start with the autofocus mode. With the camera turned on, push the shutter release button on the camera halfway to activate the rear display. When the display is active, press the quick control button, that's the one with the Q in a square, on the rear of the camera so that you can select an option from the back of the screen to change. You can touch the screen where it says AI server, or you can use the quick control dial on the rear of the camera to navigate to the autofocus option and press the set button to bring up the options that are available. We want to set the camera to AI servo mode. That means the autofocus will work continuously when the shutter release button is pressed halfway down, and it will keep tracking the focus of your subject until you press the shutter all the way and start taking photos. Next, we'll look at the autofocus selection and method options. You can access these options by pressing the small button on the top of the camera to the left of the ISO button, or by pressing the quick control button and selecting it from the rear of the screen. I prefer to use the top button on the camera because pressing it activates the window in one step. There are 4 different selection methods, and one of them is the manual select zone autofocus. The next one is the large zone. There's an auto select, and that lets the camera decide for you. And there's a manual selection that allows you to choose one point. Right now we'll use the manual select zone. By using the quick command dial on the back of the camera, I can actually choose where the camera is going to focus. So I can go to the left and it'll be left center, or the top left, or the lower left. This is a way that I can tell the camera where inside of the frame to focus. The T8i has a built-in light meter, and next we'll look at the metering modes available on the camera. So we'll select the option from the back of the camera, and the first one is evaluative metering, and that is going to measure the light in the entire frame of the camera. The next is partial metering. It's going to do a center area of the frame. We have spot metering, which is a very small area in the center of the frame, and we have a center weighted average, which is going to kind of combine all of the center area of the frame. I like to use evaluative metering in most situations, but the other ones are available and we'll learn more about them later in the class. Last, we're going to look at the drive options on the camera, which is located right here. Right now it's set to low speed continuous. So we have several different drive options. These are some timer options that we have available. We have a single shot, which is every time I push the camera shutter, only one frame will be taken. There's high speed continuous, which will take a series of shots in a rapid sequence. And low speed continuous, which will take multiple shots but in a slightly lower frame rate than our high speed. I'm going to set this to high speed continuous for now. That way I can push the shutter and just keep taking photos very rapidly. And now you know how to change some of the advanced features on the Canon T8i.